Hello YouTube, Sam here from youtube.com/onlivegamer for the new Boston. And in this tutorial we're going to start learning about ArrayLists. Now if you look at this code right here, I already have some typed out. Now if you remember, this is from one of the previous tutorials where we learned about structures and read-only properties. And if you don't know what those are, go ahead and move back and watch the videos about those. You don't have to if you don't want to, but I would recommend it before moving on to this tutorial. So you can see here's our program, and you remember that when we clicked list customer, it lists their full name, their first name, their last name, and their email. Now we want to make a lot of customers, and we want to store these in an array, but we don't know exactly how many there are going to be added. So what we can do is use what's called an array list. Now an array list is similar to an array, but it can hold any data type. So you could have an array list and store a string in it, an integer in it. You can store double. You can store all different data types inside of an array list, and you can also it has no bounds, so you can just keep adding stuff to it, and you're not going to run out of space. You're not going to have to redeclare it or anything like that. It's also known as a type of collections. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here to our code, and we're going to come up to the top here, and let's just do it before our structure, and we're going to declare a private variable or a private array list. So what we're going to do is we're going to call it private my customers as new array list. Now when you use the new keyword, it means you are making an object of the array list. So now what we're going to do is we are going to create a sub that will add customers to our array list. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down here right before these private fields, and we'll go ahead and type private sub add customer. And for our parameters, we're going to use first name, last name, and email. So we'll byval first name as string, byval last name as string, and then we'll do their email as string. So byval email as string. So when the developer or you calls add customer, it's going to take three arguments: their first name, their last name, and their string. So then what we're going to do is we are going to make an object of our customer structure. And now whenever add customer is called, it makes a new object of it, and it's independent of this structure itself. So we will just declare, so dim object new customer as customer. So when we create this new customer right here, this can only be used inside of this sub right here. So when this sub is called, it's created, and then after that it's no longer used. And this doesn't matter to us because we're going to be adding those customers to a list box above these fields. So we'll go ahead and do that right now. We'll just make this a little bit bigger. We'll highlight everything by just taking our mouse and dragging a little box over it, and then we'll pull this down to the bottom. And now we'll come over here to our toolbox, and we will add a list box. And we will just call this list customers. So list customers. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to come back to our add customer sub, and you can see that it's unused. So now what we got to do is use that. So we're just going to fill in all of the fields that we need to. So when we create a customer structure, we will have access to first name, last name, and email, and they will be stored in object new customer. So we'll just type object new customer dot first name equals, and then we're going to use the first name that you have passed to this sub. So we'll just do first name, and then we'll do that for the last name equals last name, and object new customer dot email equals email. Now what we have to do is, since we've created our new customer, we're going to add that to our array list of my customers so that we can access it later on, and we'll just store a bunch of customers in one array list. So we'll just type object customer dot add, or not object customer, sorry about that. We want my customers dot add, and it says adds an object to the end of the systems.collections.ArrayList. So whenever you add any item to your array list of any data type you want, it'll just go ahead and add it after the last item that you've added in there. And since there's nothing in there, this is going to be the first thing inside of it. So we'll just add object new customer. And then once we leave this sub, object new customer is going to be gone. So whenever we run this sub, it uses it and then it's gone, and then if we call it again, object new customer is going to be something completely different. So now what we need to do is we need to add that customer to the list. So list customers dot items dot add, and we will just add object new customer. So we're going to come down here to our button one click event, and let's just remove what we have created so far. So we're no longer going to need that. So what we're going to do is we're going to create some customers here, or add customer. So we'll just type add customer, and we'll do first name Sam, last name let's just do hello, and let's just do sam.hello@programmer.com, and we'll create a couple more customers. So add customer John, or John Roberts, and we'll just do roberts.john@programmer.com, and we'll just add one more to our list. So add customer, let's just do Rachel Smith, and then Smith dot, or we need to make that a string, so Smith dot Rachel@programmer.com. Okay, so now we have called add customer 3 times whenever the user clicks button 1 or list customer. So it will go ahead and create those customers, add them to the list, and then add them to our array list here so that we can access them after that. So if we go ahead and run this, you can see we've got form 1 right here. If we click list customer, you can see that it's not exactly what we wanted. It gives us structures.form1 plus customer. So structures is our project, form1 is the class, and then customer is the object type. So what we're going to need to do is override the toString method here. So if we come down here, and whenever they add it, we'll just convert object new customer dot toString, and that should give us something a little bit different. So if we click run, click list customer, you can see that it gives us the same thing because it is already a string. So like I said, what we're going to need to do is override toString so that it will give us what we want. So we're going to be learning about that in the next tutorial. So I'll scroll through this code real quick for you so you can pause wherever you want. And once you go ahead and practice a little bit with ArrayLists, make different projects, add stuff to ArrayLists like strings and integers all in the same array list, and you can add those to list boxes using a for each loop. And once you know what ArrayList is and you're not going to forget what they are, go ahead and move on to the next tutorial.